And ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, people in the bayou, because it's your gimmick. I want to introduce you guys. I have a special interview. I'm going to interview arguably one of my favorite underrated WCW wrestler, Lash LeRoux.
Hey, you got it, Kyle. This is me, Lash LeRoux, the one and only.
Oh man, ever since I started this podcast, I always wanted to interview you.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh man. Mr. LaRouche, can I ask you some questions?
Absolutely. Fire away, my friend.
Okay, so your gimmick is that you're Cajun. Are you actually Cajun or are you just fake Cajun?
Man, I grew up in Alabama, but I'm about as Cajun as it comes, I guess. With a name like LaRue, you gotta be. I never knew my dad. My dad was from that area. Never knew him. Was never really around him. Grew up in Alabama, but it's a natural thing for me. Cajun is country and country is Cajun. So down here in the South, there's really not a whole lot of difference if you grew up in the sticks.
Oh, I can see that. Um, I want to ask you. I thought your gimmick was unique.
Well, thank you for that. I thought it was too.
I mean, there's not a lot of Cajun themed wrestlers nowadays, so you were like ahead of your time.
Hey, there you go, man. I was a minority, if you will.
um, a red hair minority, if you will.
There you go. That's right. The Ginger Avenger.
Oh man, oh dude. Okay, I would. Okay, so you were part of the WCW Cruiserweight division from 1998, late 1998 to 2001.
That's correct.
What was it like being a cruiserweight wrestler?
I was phenomenal, man. It was very challenging, unique, creative, all of those things because you got to put together these great matches where you go out there and you have to be athletic, but at the same time tell a great story. You're pushing the boundaries every single time you're in the ring. You're trying to be as exciting as you can possibly be, as unique as you can possibly be. Take every high risk maneuver you can think of and put a spin on it that is maybe unique and different from what someone else has done.
Wow. I'm going to admit I'm a pro wrestling fan, but I'm also a pro wrestler in training too. Well, I only had two matches. My ring name is Yin Truesdale.
How about that, man?
Yin Truesdale's crazy. He's kind of like Mikey Riprack mixed with Al Snow mixed with Dean Ambrose.
Okay, well there you go, man. Mikey Whipwreck's a good start for you.
Oh, dude, I love Mikey, especially when he was doing things in 2000 where it's like, when he was wearing, like, Hawaiian shirts. Like, dude, Mikey Riprack is the man.
There you go.
I also wanted to ask you this, wanted to ask you, one of my favorite matches you did was in Saturday Night. You were kind of sort of Mr. Saturday Night WCW, in my opinion.
There towards the end, I think we actually put that moniker on me at one point, and I think I promptly killed the show because not long after that, it was canceled.
But my favorite matches with you and Kaz Hayashi. I love Kaz Hayashi, by the way.
I did too. He was a phenomenal athlete, a very underrated worker. He was a wonderful wrestler, man, and did not get enough accolades, I don't think, in his own time. I love being in the ring with Kaz. Kaz and I always had wonderful matches, and not just wonderful matches in the ring. We trained together a pretty good bit as well, and
Wow.
we could get in the ring and just chain wrestle for hours without it stopping
Is
and
it
really not even having to say anything.
Was it hard to wrestle with Kaz since you're American, he's Japanese, and is it hard?
No, because he was very giving. He was very giving, and I think that there's an unwritten rule, sort of, among wrestlers. Even if you don't speak language, or if there's a little bit of a language barrier, you can still fill things out, and you kind of know whether someone is a selfish type of wrestler or if someone's a giving type of wrestler. And so that makes it simpler, in my opinion, for you to put matches together when you trust the other person you're in the ring with, regardless of what the language is.
I'm a giving wrestler, and I want to be a very giving wrestler. I want to give everybody a chance. I want to put people over. I want to be that wrestler. You know why? Because it's important to put people over. It's important to do.
Sure it is.
I also wanted to tell you that, since I think to me, you should have worn the WCW Cruiserweight belt at one point in your career.
Well, thank you for that. I did have a very, very short stint where I won it on a non-televised event and promptly lost it the next day. But that didn't really make it to the history books. I have a history of that when it comes to championship titles, though. If you remember, I won the tag team titles with Chavo Guerrero, and we lost it in about 30 seconds. So
dude,
that's okay. I can win them. I just can't hold on to them.
Dude, what's it like working with Chavo Guerrero Jr.? I heard a lot of good things about him.
It was like going to the ring with my brother.
Wow.
We could get in there. I could trust him. Again, trust is keen and it is big. If you're going to put your body on the line, you better be able to trust the people that are around you. And you would be hard pressed to find someone you could trust better and more than you could trust Chavo.
Well, I wanted to tell you that I do rebookings of WCW 2000 because you know how that year was not good. Sorry to be blunt.
No, it's fine, man. Everybody's got a different flavor and a different taste. It was definitely a transition period, not just for WCW, but for the business in general. And, I think there was a lot of inter-office politics and maybe some egos that got in the way of what could have been some otherwise wonderful shows.
Well,
but with that said, I think the product and the talent that was out there overall was still, more than optimal.
Wow. Well, I wanted to tell you that I did a rebooking of WCW Uncensored 2000, which is still the worst WCW pay-per-view I ever saw in my life, and I wanted to be. But here's what I did: I booked you in a match between when Prince Iaukea. By the way, I love Prince Iaukea as Prince, the biggest Hawaiian Prince fan. He was holding the title, and he's fighting against you, Psychosis, Unmasked Psychosis, Kaz Hayashi, Juventud Guerrera, Lash LeRoux, and Billy Kidman. So it's a fatal six-way match, and you win.
I'll take it. I'll take any win I can get. No, I loved wrestling against Prince Iaukea as well. He was a phenomenal talent, man. You look back at the roster that WCW had at the time from top to bottom. You really had some wonderful wrestlers, some great talents, some memorable characters, and it was an impressive roster.
You know who? Right, I agree. I also gave you and Chavo a week-run tag team match run with the belts, and you give it to the Boogie Knights in my rebooking of Millennial Night, or I like to call it WCW Franken Germany.
How about that?
Well, I also will admit that sorry if I'm stuttering. I think that you are a very underrated talent. I think you are very muchly one of those wrestlers that I look up to. In fact, a lot of times when I was in high school, I'd always tell people about you. Because I was a huge wrestling fan, I always tell people, hey, have you seen Lash LeRoux? This guy's awesome. And when I heard about you being a cartoonist, I was like, oh, maybe me and him have something in common because we both love drawing and crap and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that a lot. I've always enjoyed the artwork, man, and it started at a very young age. I just never stopped drawing, and I enjoy it a lot, man. It's awesome. And I appreciate you speaking so highly of it.
Well, I also wanted to tell you that I rebooked WCW New Blood Rising into WCW British Columbian Reckoning, and you are in a fatal four-way match between you, Crowbar. By the way, Crowbar is awesome, nice dude. Disco Inferno and Lance Storm, and Lance is defending one of his 3 titles on that night.
But you're pretty good at putting together matches that just have really phenomenal wrestlers in it, aren't you?
Well, I'm a fan. I breathe wrestling. I drink, eat, chow down, munch on wrestling.
Well, you put those guys in the ring, man, and I think that you'd be hard pressed not to find a very, very good match come out the other side of it. I
Well,
mean, those are technicians, and get a disco, bring a little razzle dazzle to it, and the next thing you know, boom, you've got some entertainment.
Disco's gimmick is he's the That 70s guy. I made him the That 70s guy instead of Mike Awesome.
That's cool.
Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, granted, he was in the Filthy Animals, which, okay, I replaced him with Stevie Ray because I felt like Stevie was a better choice than Disco in that group. But anyways, I felt like, okay, how about Disco represents the entire 70s instead of one period? But anyways, yeah. So in the match, when you're entering, you're holding the British Columbian flag while you're like doing your entrance.
So you changed my nationality on me.
Well, I didn't change it. I just only changed it for one night. I mean, if you're going to fight Lance Storm, you gotta appeal to the Canadian stuff. You gotta appeal to the Canadian.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What was it like working with Lance Storm in 2000? I heard Lance Storm has a huge respect level.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a great wrestler, and all those guys, man. You could just sit there and that they ooze the knowledge of being a ring technician and of the business in general. The psychology and the storytelling was second to none. You go out there in the ring and you just knew you're going to have a good match. You walk into an arena for that matter, and you see that that's what I'm facing tonight. You go, oh man, this is going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be a night off. It's going to be a wonderful match, and it's going to be.
Oh, well, that's cool, dude. Sorry, I just had to get my phone, but I was listening to it.
Hey, no problem.
So, Mr. LeRoux, I wanted to ask you a question. Like, you were part of a stable, an underrated WCW stable, one of my favorites actually, called MIA, Misfits in Action, and you were the man that wore the green camouflage and gray camouflage.
Well, I actually took two different colored camouflage and took it to my seamstress there in WCW, the wardrobe department, and had them split it up the middle and take two different colored legs and sew them together. So
I saw that. That's why it was so weird. I was like, where did he get these pants?
Yeah, those were unique, one of a kind. You can't buy those just anywhere.
Oh, dude, I wanted to tell you, man, like, you rock camouflage. I mean, I could tell that you, Hugh, Chavo, Van, and Wall, God bless Wall, by the way.
Yeah.
Wall were having the time of your lives as these 5 dudes that were just having the time of their life. I also wanted to ask you,
you left somebody in there too, by the way.
Booker?
Yeah, Booker T, G.I. Bro, the man himself.
I think Booker was not ready to be G.I. Bro. In my booking, he was not G.I. Bro, he was himself, so he never joined you guys, but he was always like an affiliation ally to you guys.
Yeah, all right.
But anyways, I also wanted to tell you that every time, like, so I have a friend named Tyler, and he thinks you're underrated as well, too. And I also want... So, Tyler's wrestling name is Xanadu, not to be confused with that crappy movie.
Yeah. That's Olivia Newton-John in that movie, I think, right?
And Steve, I think it was Steve Gutenberg?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, but anyways, I also wanted to ask you, what was the worst match you were ever a part on? Like, just your years.
No, man. I mean, I really don't remember having a worst match. I'm trying to remember if any that might have just been a train wreck, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I have one. Can I tell you it?
Oh, come on, lay it on me.
It was the match in New Blood Rising where you and Hugh Morris were fighting against Chronic and Onic, Sean, the Perfect Event, and O'Hare and Stasiak, and it wasn't good. There was so many things wrong with that match, and it wasn't you. One of the things was not you guys. Like, the problem was that, like, there was the stick with the Filthy Animals being the referee, and then there was, like, so many interference.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes what can happen in situations like that, Kyle, is you can overbook a match. And it is especially difficult when you start trying to have more than one tag team involved in a match at a time. You have several tag teams 3 different teams, 4 different teams, outside people involved. So I could understand how things like that can go off the rails and become just chaotic very quickly.
It's just that whenever like I made now when I say this, I want to say this to my wrestling fans. Like when I review this match, I want to say that everybody is wasted, and the worst part is Lash LeRoux was wasted the most. And that's not a joke. Like when every time I see you get wasted, it's like I just want to pull my hair out and just wanted to scream in a pillow. Not for real, but it's like I have that feeling where like you deserve better, man. You deserve better. But anyways,
well, it's kind of you. And again, you have that many teams, and then you also probably on a pay-per-view, if I don't really remember clearly, but I would bet we probably did not have a whole lot of time for that match either. So then you have a lot of people that's trying to get involved in the match in a very short amount of time, and it oftentimes does not work very well.
Right. You know Vince Russo booked that. I also wanted to ask you, what's it like working with Russo? Is Russo okay? Is he not?
I've never had an issue with Russo at all. I always liked working with him and talking to him and, his creative ideas. And everybody has some wins and everybody has some losses. Some people, you can't be creative 1,000,000% of the time. But at the same time, I enjoyed my experiences with him.
Yeah, I agree. I also wanted to tell you that, when every time have you ever, okay, this is back to the Cajun thing. Have you ever eaten any Cajun food like gumbo or jambalaya?
Oh, absolutely. I love Cajun food, man. I told a shrimp Creola. I love some Cajun food, some etouffee, some jambalaya. Absolutely.
So did you eat it because you were dedicated to the gimmick?
No, I eat it because it's good.
Okay, that's cool, man. But you get what I mean. I also wanted to. I also wanted to tell you something. Want to hear a funny tag team I put you in?
Sure, lay it on me. What you got?
Okay, so I did my own version of the invasion angle. Where WCW and ECW invade, and you're part of a tag team with Buff Bagwell. Do you know what you guys are called?
What's that?
Cajun Muscle.
I like it. I like Cajun Muscle. Here's a fun fact for you. There was a time in WCW when they loosely talked about teaming me with Mikey Whipwreck and calling it Whiplash.
Oh, dude, I can totally see that. Like, well, Mikey would later on become Ginger, too. Well,
sure.
I also wanted to tell you that I respect Mikey Whipwreck. Mikey is the reason I have this character. Well, he's the inspiration. I also, so your gimmick is that you're teaching Bagwell how to be adopted. Like, Bagwell is this adopted Cajun person, and he's wearing the jester hats, the Mardi Gras jester. And guess what? Like, so you and Bagwell beat APA for the tag team belts, and you and Bagwell have a SummerSlam match against Kaientai, which is Taka Michinoku and Funaki, and you guys have a 3 out of 2 false count match for the tag team titles. It's the penultimate match.
Well, look, if you're going to put us in the ring with APA, I want you to be the ones to tell them that we win the match. I don't want to have to break that news to Bradshaw.
I know. I heard a lot of negative things. Trust me, dude.
No, I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that from the standpoint of if it was a real fight, I don't think I would stand much of a chance against Ron Simmons or Bradshaw.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that clothesline of hell. I don't know if it's real, or I don't know if it's real, or it's like, you know how like you gotta be careful with that move.
Hey, welcome to the magic, man. You're not supposed to know whether it is or not.
Like, I don't know if it hurts.
That's the beauty of the business.
I don't know if it hurts or not, dude. It's like I like a good clothesline. I like taking one, but not taking Bradshaw. I will not take that. It's no wonder it's called the clothesline from hell, because it's actually from hell. Sorry, what did you said?
I said good point.
I mean,
good point.
I also wanted to tell you that a lot. I also wanted to ask you, what have you ever had a hardcore match before?
Man, I haven't done many of them. I'm not a big fan of hardcore matches. To be honest with you, I'm just not. I don't think that they're necessary. Now, I think there's a difference between a hardcore match and just having a gimmick match. And what I mean by that is, it's one thing to build up to maybe a street fight at a pay per view, and there's going to be some weapons involved in that, and there's no stipulations, and the storyline has taken you to a point to where the only way you can settle the score and settle the business is to sort of have a no holds barred type of match. But just strictly having a hardcore match for the sake of having weapons involved, I was never a big fan of, just because I don't see the need for it. I'd rather somebody go out there and just have a good wrestling match. But that's just a personal preference. Everybody has a different take.
I don't see you as a hardcore wrestler. I see you as a guy who can just do a normal match. I can see Wall or Hugh Morris do that because they have experience with those type of things.
Sure. And I've done a lot of matches where I'm comfortable with those props and those weapons, but it's just I prefer to be able to wrestle. I like wrestling.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you another thing. Have you ever wrestled with? Have you ever wrestled with any of the okay, you wrestled with Kaz Hayashi. Have you ever wrestled with any of the members other than Kaz of 3 Count or the Junk Dragons? I call them the Cruiserweight Six. You know how in WWE there was the SmackDown Six?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of matches together. All of us did. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. We had a 6-man match once that 3 Count was involved in, and I'm still very, very good friends even now with all those guys, especially Sugar Shane Helms.
Oh, the Hurricane!
Yeah, and we had one particular match where we were wrestling. MIA was wrestling against 3 Count, and the one who was about 6'10" and about 300 pounds just reached down off of the ring apron to the outside and palmed the head of Shannon Moore and just picked him up by his head like a basketball. It was amazing.
No way!
Yeah, it was just raw bone strength right there. And I think that match was televised. You could probably find it somewhere.
Oh yeah, I remember. It's the Fall Brawl match. It's a Fall Brawl match.
That sounds right. That sounds correct.
What I also wanted to ask, dude, I love Shane Helms. Shane, to me, is the greatest Cruiserweight champion ever, next to Rey and Chavo.
Hey, it'd be hard to argue that. I agree.
Also, I bought some UFO pants. Those are the pants that Shane, Evan, and Shannon wear, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because you're a 2000s guy, I was born in 98, so...
Wow, you're a young buck, man. You're young. No, back then, man, we could all just go to Hot Topic anytime we wanted to and pick up a pair of those pants.
Wait, you mean you could pair... You mean you could go... Wait, there was a Hot Topic in 2000?
Oh, man, yeah, of course there was. Yeah, there's nothing new.
Wow, I want pants now. But anyways, I also wanted to ask you, what do you think was... So, I wanted to ask you, you wear the mask during the Chavo and Juventud Guerrera match at Bash at the Beach. You wear this, like, president's mask.
I don't remember that.
But you did, you and Hugh did. That was, I also wanted to ask you, like, what's your, can you tell people your signature move?
The whiplash, brother. That's pretty easy. I invented that thing. It's a fireman's carry into basically a hoovy driver. And so I called it the whiplash. And then later on, they came to me and they said, we'd like for you to do a move as well that you don't have to pick everybody up for in case you wrestle guys a lot bigger than you are. And I began doing a Russian leg sweep, except I did it with a cravat. So like a European style a headlock. And then I do a Russian leg sweep and float over with it. I call that the Whiplash 2000. And then, of course, my other signature move, well, it wasn't a finisher, but my signature move was the Bourbon Street Blues, where I jab the guy 3 times, dance like James Brown, do the splits, pop up, and then clothesline.
You can dance. You can dance to save your life. Have you and Ernest?
Hey man, that's some Cajun in you. You get some Cajun in you. You can dance. Get a little Zydeco boogie woogie going.
Dude, I can see. Dude, have you ever danced with Ernest Miller?
Oh, absolutely. We did a little angle together on that too, as a matter of fact, and we actually had James Brown on a pay-per-view or something at one point.
Super Brawl 2000. Oh,
yeah.
Dude, if I wish you and him had a dance contest, because like a segment, not a match, and it's like it would have been awesome. I also wanted. Okay, so I've been asked. Okay, so have you ever thought of being a wrestling manager? Because I could totally see you be a manager.
Sure. I've thought about all that. I think if you get into the wrestling business and you love the wrestling business, then there's some part of you that feels like you can do it all. I mean, you want to be able to be a talent in the ring. You want to be a great wrestler. If you can have any kind of microphone skills at all, you can be a good manager and know how to work outside the ring, be a great referee, and know how to be a part of the match without really being noticed and overshadowing the wrestlers, and really facilitating a great match in that way. Do color commentating where you can call the play-by-play while they're in the ring, or even be a ring announcer if you had to be. I feel like I could do it all from top to bottom. Why not?
Wow, that's cool. I can see you be a wrestling manager like this, like, you know what your gimmick could be? Like, you just wear camouflage pants, and then like you wear like a Louisiana jersey from any sports team. And like but that's just
there was a couple of times when I wore the Raging Cajuns, which is Lafayette, University of Louisiana Lafayette jersey.
Oh man, that's cool. Oh yeah, now I remember like Raging Cajun. I thought that was like I thought Vince Russo made you a jersey and you just. But
No, yeah. Although I should have made Vince Russo make me a jersey. That's a good idea. I should have made him just sit in the back and sew me a jersey and say, "Here, make me a jersey, Vince."
And zero, like, and your number's like 0, and it's like, and it says LeRoux. But
that's where you always know where you are on the totem pole if you're 0.
Right. I also wanted to. Also, you wear a lot of red and black and kind of orange.
Yeah, and orange. Orange is my color. I like orange. I'm a big fan of orange.
Well, don't worry. In my version, don't worry. In my rebooking of the invasion storyline, you do wear a lot of orange. You even wear some green, purple, and yellow.
Those are great Mardi Gras colors.
Oh, dude, I never been to Mardi Gras, but I think I'm safe from Mardi Gras.
It's fun, man. I love Mardi Gras. Good time.
Have you ever? So, what was the hottest day? You've been to Spring Break. You were one of the hosts on a WCW Spring Break thing, and I saw you with this Nitro belt, and you look awesome in it.
Well, thank you. Those belts were actually like belts that WCW had made, and we would do a Mr. Nitro contest and a Miss Nitro contest. And we do it 2 or 3 times a day on the beach there just to build up some enthusiasm. And we'd give those belts away as prizes to the people that won.
Oh, man, dude. Oh, I can totally see that, man. What was another Oh, this is a question that I forgot to ask you. And you worked with Norman Smiley before. What was it like working with Norman Smiley? Because I heard a lot of great things.
He was a great talent and a unique talent. The wonderful thing about working with guys like that is you had a handful of wrestlers. I would put Norman Smiley in this category. I would put Dave Taylor in this category. I would put Fit Finley in this category. They were guys that had their own unique style. You know, it was a mixture of kind of a luchador style, along with an American style, along with a Japanese style, along with a European style, and they could mix all those things together in such a way, man, that was just phenomenal to be a part of. And to get in the ring with those guys, you learned every single time you got in the ring because they had different ways to go in and out of moves and transitions of moves. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Dude, I love Norman Smiley. I love his beginnings where he was just wearing the tights and then he wear these jerseys. Have you ever, like, yeah. I wanted to ask Norman, what's it like wrestling with a jersey? I bet it's not easy to wrestle with some, because some jerseys are like cardboard. Like they fit.
Yeah. Well, and Norman, the great thing about Norman too was he's one of the nicest guys in the world too. You meet him in person, Matt, and he is just an extreme gentleman from top to bottom, Matt.
Well, he is from England.
I've been in the ring with somebody like that.
Well, he is from England. I think to me, Norman is arguably, in my opinion, one of the best British wrestlers ever. I
agree.
Like top 10. Top 10.
Yes.
Also,
and I tell you who else you have to put up in that top 10 as well is Dave Taylor. Dave Taylor is a phenomenal British wrestler.
Oh, he's underrated as hell. He deserves more love. I also wanted to tell you I made Norman a WCW champion in my rebooking. Want to know?
Hey, don't get any arguments from me on that. I like that. I like it. Good booking.
Well, guess what? Well, he won a Spring Stampede tournament. Well, it was just the finals that were aired against Chris Kanyon. Chris is awesome, by the way.
Yes.
So Norman wins a championship. We build him up as like a credible threat, somebody who can go, that can fight for the world champion. But like we build him, like people don't see him like as a champion. But guess what? So when Shane Douglas wins the belt by beating Ray and DDP, ADP, like he says, so Eric Bischoff, who's like the babyface manager at the time, long story, but I'm not going to show you that because anyway, so like Norman says, I want my match between me, DDP, and Shane Douglas for the title, the triple cage match for the title. And Shane is all pissy and moody, and he's like, that's not fair. That's not. And it's like, and then Eric Bischoff is like, the thing is, Norman, is that Norman won a tournament, meaning that he can have any match on any day, and if he says he wants it on the pay-per-view, then we're going to give it to him on the pay-per-view. And guess what? He just beat Shane and DDP.
Well, there you go. How about that? That's exciting.
You know what he does? He handcuffs Shane, and then he hits him with a kendo stick.
Well, that's one way to do it.
And guess what? Also, can I admit that I don't hate Mark Madden as a commentator? I think he has good potential.
Mark Madden. I thought Mark Madden did a great job as a commentator. He's a great heel commentator. And I also think that Mark Madden has a wonderful mind for the business, and he brings something unique to the table. Look, you don't need all of your commentators to be cookie cutter play-by-play guys.
Right.
And there's a spot for people that are over-the-top personalities. There's a spot for guys that do a wonderful job adding a little color to the matches. And there's a spot for guys that are like a Mike Tenay that can just tell you every single move in every single person's repertoire and bring some wrestling trivia along the way. I think that works. I think that's a great mix.
I made Mark Madden he's the commentator that like he's fair, but he's also like the fan perspective commentary. And guess what? So his gimmick in my rebooking is that he hates Russo because Russo has his own stable called Russo Inc. And guess what? Every time, he insults Russo in his stable, because in his character is I have a backstory for my character because I used to work with Russo, and now I gotta deal with him in WCW, and it's so funny because it's he used in the original he worships him. Now my version he hates this guy. He will insult Russo until he's a skeleton. And guess what he said? He says when Shane Douglas wins the belt, he goes like this: "Oh look, it's mustard stain Shane Douglas."
Well, there you go. How about that?
And guess what? He calls Russo a piece of New York trash. As it he also want to hear he calls Jeff Jarrett the rejected country singer Jeff Jarrett. He also
wow.
Oh man, dude, I'm telling you, man, when I rebooked WCW 2000, I had a lot of fun.
It sounds like you did, man. You're very enthusiastic about it. You gotta be a big fan to be able to do those types of projects.
I just have a lot of time. Also,
you got a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, I do have a lot of time. I will admit I want to go to a wrestling camp so that way I can hone my skills, get better, and get better on the mic and do anything I can. I also wanted to ask you, what was your favorite what is one of your favorite memories of being a wrestler?
Being a wrestler, one of my favorite memories of being a wrestler is the first pay-per-view I ever did. When I walked out at Halloween Havoc and wrestled Disco Inferno. And then another big memory for me was my Nitro debut against Billy Kidman in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I love Billy Kidman. I love Kidman, dude. Dude, I love his flock look. I love everything. The one thing I didn't like was his feud with Hogan, which I felt like, you know what I told somebody about his feud with Hogan? I didn't tell Kidman, but I told someone okay, you know what? This is somebody's fanfic. You know, have you heard that joke where it's somebody's project, or it's somebody's this feels like something you see from those WWE 2K games where it's just, let's pick two random people and have them have a paper. Okay, but anyways, I love Kidman. I love Billy Kidman. Dude, he also had great long hair. I didn't know why he cut it in later years, you know?
I don't know either. Maybe it just became a little bit more corporate. It happens to the best of us, I guess, except me. I kind of still have my same hair from WCW days.
Oh, you do, dude. You do. So I also wanted to ask you, did you ever had a match with Rey Mysterio Jr., aka Rey Mysterio?
I had about 100 matches with Rey Mysterio Jr., it feels like. We wrestled all the time, and not just on television, but we wrestled a lot of non-televised matches, and it was always a blast because we would just make up stuff in the ring as we went. And we had great chemistry together, took wonderful care of one another, never got hurt in a match with Rey, and loved every opportunity I had to wrestle with him.
You wrestled Rey during his unmasked phase. Is it weird to see Rey without a mask?
No, but I guess because for me, I saw him all the time, and so it was more often than not that I would see him without a mask on because we travel together and be on the road together.
Oh man, dude, I'm telling you, man. So, have you ever wrestled Mikey Whipwreck?
I don't think so. We were on some shows together in WCW. I don't think we actually wrestled each other. I might be wrong.
I think you and Mikey would have made some good matches, though. I think you and Mike. Oh, dude, have you ever? Oh man, have you ever been to Canada? Well, you have because you've been in New Blood Rising. What's it like in Canada?
Love going to Canada, man. The wrestling fans are awesome there. They love their wrestling, and they especially love their Canadian wrestlers. So if you're going to wrestle a Canadian in Canada, I don't care who's the heel or the babyface on paper, you're going to be the heel and they're going to be the babyface.
Oh, dude. Oh, by the way, my favorite Canadian wrestler right now is PCO. PCO, you know?
He's having a great resurgence, isn't he?
Yeah. He deserved that.
For a comeback?
Oh, dude, he's in his 50s, and yet he can still wrestle like he's a young.
That's great.
Oh, dude, I would like to wrestle this guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I got time for one more question, man. What you got for me?
Okay. If you ever had a match with, if you could book your own match back in 2000, which wrestler would you wrestle? Lower or Stark or main eventer?
In 2000, who would I have liked to have wrestled in 2000? Let me think. Give me a second here. I would say on television, Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yes! I love Eddie. Eddie's awesome. Hey, man, thank you for coming. I'm sorry about the delay. Dude, this is great. You are a great guest.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me, Kyle. Good luck with your podcast, my friend, and good luck with all your rebookings.
I will, and I will become a great wrestler.
I believe you, man. I'm in your corner.
Yin Truesdale.
There you go.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye.